Big welcome to Smith Square, to this wonderful church, but we're not going to pray today. I'm Pedro Serrano. I'm the ambassador of the European Union to the United Kingdom, and it's a pleasure to welcome all of you to this event that we're doing together with the Grantham Institute, and I'm very happy to have here with me Sir Brian Hoskins, who will be the founding director of the Grantham Institute, who will be talking and addressing you shortly. And we have a number, actually, of very relevant people amongst us today. I'll be referring to them. But I want to tell you that it's a particular honor to be part of the London Climate Action Week. It is a fixture already in this host capital city, London, that welcomes all of us. And I salute the organizers of the week who are with us today. But I salute as well a number of ambassadors, colleagues that are here, very happy, which shows from many, I think all corners of the world actually, that shows the relevance that our discussions have for not only for London, not only for the European Union, not only for United States, also we have representatives and from all, but really across the world, what we're facing really a universal challenge and threat. So good that we're all joining forces. And yes, I want amongst the speakers that we have today, I want to refer to Secretary Garcia, the head of the California Environmental Protection Agency. And definitely California probably has important and very relevant stories to tell us and from which we can learn. I also want to salute our Brazilian friends and representatives of the COP30 team, and we look forward to hearing as well from Alice Amorim, Program Director of the Executive Secretariat of COP30. So many thanks for being with us today as well. Today's world is being shaped by the increasingly visible consequences of climate change, from rising sea levels and extreme heat waves to biodiversity loss and food insecurity. The European Union is tackling this challenge head-on. We have committed to reaching climate neutrality by 2050. We're currently on track to reduce our emissions by 54% by 2030, just 1 percentage point shy of our objective. And COP30 will be the COP of implementation, and Europe is implementing. In a few moments, my colleague from the European Commission, Director Diana Aconcia, will say more about what the EU is doing, and I'll leave it to her to explain how the challenges that we're facing and how we've been advancing and the next steps. But our action certainly does not stop at our borders, and the EU remains the largest contributor of climate finance to developing countries, and we remain deeply committed to multilateralism, transparency, and solidarity. But let us be clear, ambition without evidence does not provide leadership. It will be wishful thinking. That is why science must be at the heart of everything we do. And when scientists raise the alarm, as they have again and again, we must have the courage to listen and to act. And science has spoken clearly and repeatedly. Now, it is our duty as policymakers, diplomats, researchers, and leaders across sectors to ensure that our actions are not only informed by science, but firmly grounded on it. Our association with the Grantham Institute, Imperial College, for the third year running, is more relevant than ever. Science is increasingly coming under attack. This isn't just limited to climate change, it's a broader trend. But climate science certainly has been in the crosshair in recent times. History has shown us that wherever science is suppressed and facts ignored, societal, political, and economic decline follows. Today's event and our association with Imperial is in defense of science. But this endeavor requires not only international cooperation, but also a whole-of-society approach. And this is why the role of this audience is so crucial. You represent the strength of international collaboration. You bring expertise, networks, and innovation needed to turn commitments into impact. Shortly, it will be my great pleasure to welcome on stage our first keynote speaker, Benoît Faraco. French President Emmanuel Macron appointed Mr. Faraco as France's new climate ambassador just a month ago. So we're delighted to host one of his very first public speeches in his new capacity in this year of the 10th anniversary of the Paris Agreement. But first, I will give the floor to Sir Brian Hoskins for his welcoming words. And again, I thank you for being here. I thank the wonderful London City and the government for this important climate week, and for all of you, to all of you for being here with us this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to welcome you here to this meeting today on behalf of the Grantham Institute, and we are delighted to be co-hosting this again with the delegation from the European Union to the UK. I'm talking about the science. We have to recognize the Earth is heating up, and that heating is accelerating. Going with that, warm temperature records are broken quite regularly, and the extreme events driven by weather systems with more water vapor fueling them, and with temperature contrast changing the weather systems, then disasters are occurring all the time with those extreme events. The carbon budget for 1.5 is nearly gone and will be soon. But every 0.1 degree above that 1.5 is so important, because 0.1 above means more disastrous impacts of climate change. So the case for real action on climate change gets stronger every year, but the political agenda is ever more dominated by conflict. And the actions necessary to keep our planet habitable will not wait for these conflicts to be sorted. So bringing together diplomats, policy experts, scientists, and businesses, we hope this event will provide an opportunity to take stock of where we are, not too good, and discuss what steps are needed to ensure the international community can find a renewed focus and commitment to deliver on the Paris Agreement. Thank you, and I'll hand over to Benoît now.
Hi, everyone, and quite happy to be here with you this afternoon to share a little bit of optimism. And I was planning to start by saying how much we succeed since the beginning of the Paris Agreement. And you can see on the screen this beautiful logo just agreed with the Brazilian presidency and the UNFCCC Secretariat, that can be used by anyone who just want to organize an event, a party, a conference, whatever, to say we are still happy to be in the Paris Agreement, and we have delivered. But I will start with science, because in this particular world, in this particular time, I mean, attacking science is committing suicide for the humanity. And I mean it. We have seen so many attacks on science on the last months, years. We have seen disinformation all over the social networks. It's not an option to continue to engage in this battle on climate change without science. And that's why in Europe, President Macron and Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, have launched a big initiative last May to welcome all scientists who are working in countries where science is under threat, in order to recall that Europe will remain a safe house for science. We will continue to believe on science, to listen to scientists, and to act according to science. It will be our compass in this world. It will be a challenge, we know that, and we need all of you to help us also to fight against disinformation, because it will be a big challenge. I mean, people are still challenging the words of scientists, even if our streets in California, in Africa, in Europe, in London, we all see the consequences of climate change. But I will come back to my previous speech just to also try to celebrate a little bit what has been accomplished since the Paris Agreement. Because over the last 10 years, we have started everywhere to implement the Paris Agreement. The US have started to do great things, including in coal retirement, which is our public enemy number one, if I may say so. We have seen a lot of European countries committed to end coal. UK has been one of the first of the G7 countries to close its coal power plant, and France is going to close its own by 2027. And we have seen so many changes. We have, with the Paris Agreement, we have shifted the global economy. I mean, 10 years ago, it was impossible to imagine a world without fossil fuel. It's now a reality. I mean, the cost of renewable is cheaper than ever. The best option if you want to produce power for eradicating poverty, but also for the new industry, the green industry, for artificial intelligence, is renewable. And that's a great, great news. We have been completely reinvent transportation. Of course, we have been developing public transport, but look what happened on electric vehicle. In China, 1 vehicle over 2 is electric. In France, basically 60% of our domestic production of vehicle is already electrified. And this is irreversible. We are moving forward, and we are already making progress. At the global level, we have more than 60 countries that took commitment on coal progressive phase out. And we have seen big, tremendous effort on protection of our global goods, forest, tropical forest, and we will have to continue this effort in Belem. But what the UK did in Glasgow 3 years ago by taking big steps on funding forest was also helping a lot in Africa, in the Amazon, and in South Asia. So we've made progress. We've made progress, and we have the brand new technology to make this transition, this net zero recalled by the ambassador, a reality. So my message to you today is that transition away from fossil fuel is moving on, and we have all the tools to deliver right now. This is a great news. And this is a great news not only because when we started this conversation 10 years ago, it was complicated for business, but right now business is on board. Business is probably our best ally. They want predictability, they want clarity, they don't want governments that change from one day to another on their targets and on their commitment, and they want to invest, and this will make, we will be able to demonstrate. We are doing it in Europe. Once again, we are doing it in California, we are doing it in China, that you can basically have green growth a reality. You have the jobs, you have the better air quality for people living in polluted city. So we have multiple co-benefits, and we do not have to be shy about it. I mean, some will challenge our progress, but we need to be proud of it. And obviously, if we listen to the scientists, there is a lot more to do. We know that we are not on track to the 2 degree or the 1.5 degree target. It's a reality. It's the result of the scientific analysis, and I think it will be one of the top objectives of the COP in Belém to find a way to go back on this path to 1.5 or 2 degree. It will be challenging, and I think one of the lessons we collectively learned from the Paris Agreement is that everyone who says that the transition is easy is a liar. It's not easy, and it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. But over the last couple of days in London, I've seen that even with country, we face enormous challenge regarding eradicating poverty, giving sustainable energy access to all. There is this willingness to find solutions, which is a very good news. This morning I was engaging with countries such as Pakistan, such as Singapore, on the way we can fund in developing an emerging economy the transition away from coal. It's a challenge. Every plant is a challenge because at the local level, you have workers, you have people, you have a local government that depend on the revenue of the power plant, but we are collectively bringing solution. And sometimes this kind of big opposition between the global north and the global south can be seen as a reality in the negotiation, but when you start to work on concrete projects all together, we can make a big difference. On the roadmap to Belem, once again, science will be one of the top priority, and I'm sure that President Macron and President Lula are determined to give a strong signal that science will still be our compass. We are committed to that, and it's not negotiable. One expected outcome of Belem, a beautiful, happy birthday present for the Paris Agreement, would be progress on deforestation. It will be the first time that we will have a COP in a tropical forest, and we still know that deforestation at this stage is about like 60% of European emission. So it's big, and we need to act on deforestation. Brazil is taking the lead on this, bringing new idea, new proposal for funding deforestation, and it's a big opportunity to make a difference. And what gives me hope at this stage is that a couple of weeks ago in Nice, we organized the UN conference on the ocean. It was one of the first rendezvous on multilateralism after the US election. And in a couple of months, we managed to gather more than 60 countries who committed to the entry into force of a treaty for protection of the IC. It's a small piece of our ocean that will get protection, but it's also a very strong signal that multilateralism still matters for a lot of countries and a lot of partners, and that we have not been destabilized by this turbulent world. So I take this as a message of hope for the COP to Belém, and I think it will be clear also that we will need to continue to engage on this discussion on how we move away from fossil fuel. In Brazil, most of the cars are running with biofuel, interesting solution to replace fossil fuel. We are developing EVs. We have to think a little bit more about our city and so on. And I think that it will be at the core of the result of Belém, because if we solve this energy transition, if we mobilize all the technology we have, at the end of the day, we will find a way together to retrieve this path on 1.5 degree. Last for me, and probably the most challenging part, will be what we call adaptation in our negotiation, because all our communities over the next decade will face tremendous impacts of climate change. It has already started, we know that, and we are not at scale to help and to support our community for that. It will be a big challenge because every country in the planet is concerned by this topic. There is no safe place without climate impact on the planet anymore. And it's time for us probably to rethink a little bit how we address adaptation. And even if we don't give up on mitigation, because we will never give up on mitigation, it's probably time to make more room for adaptation discussion to support our community. That's probably where I leave you guys with this kind of ideas and roadmap for the Belém COP. But I was in Bonn a couple of days ago, starting again this negotiation under the UNFCCC process. It's challenging, it's difficult, but what I've seen this week in London, with so many countries gathered, with so many people concerned, even if the government is not aligned with what science is saying, gives me tremendous hope that we can support the Brazilian presidency to deliver a beautiful COP in Belém. Thank you so much.